All right, so today we're going to be talking about how to get driving shots with the Osmo Pocket 3. A lot of people have been asking me on my last MovMax review, so today I figured why not show you guys all the camera settings, teach you guys exactly everything from A to Z, talk about the gear that we use, the filters we use, the camera settings, and all of that. Now, of course, there are many ways that you can get driving shots. And one of them could be also just holding your hand outside of the window and capturing shots like that. But in this case, I'm going to show you guys the proper way, which is using a car mounting system. And in this case, I will be using the Tilta HYDRA Alien Mini. This is Tilta's version of the car mount for the Pocket 3. And there's also other brands such as the MovMax if you've seen the review before on the channel. But this time we're going to be using the Tilta one just because, I don't know, I kind of like this one a lot more. But essentially this has a spring arm that allows you to basically absorb all the bumps and the shakiness from the road. So this will actually give you much smoother shots. You won't have any shaky footage in that case. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna mount this on the car. One thing I like about this one actually is that the fact that this comes with an electronic suction cup. You don't necessarily need to pump it by yourself. This will automatically pump it if it's getting loose. Now, what you need to do is you need to put this here. There's a button right over here. So we'll press the button, and that's it. It's already in. All we gotta do is we gotta attach the rest of the parts, which are this really cool arms. They use a rosette in order to mount them up. Now to do this, we need to first attach this small piece. They're usually together. I just have them separated right now, but you attach them like this. And lastly, you grab the arm, you screw them together, and this works. Now, there's different ways. Again, like I said, you can mount it. The great thing about this one is that it comes with a NATO rail. You can essentially mount the Pocket 3 just like this on top of it. But we're gonna use one of their additional products, which is this really cool shock absorbing arm. You can get this separately, or you can probably get them together. I'm not sure, but what you need to do is you attach this right over here, and you tighten it up. And then what I'll do, I can take off that extra arm, and then you just simply slide this in. It has a lever in the back so you can loosen it up. You slide it in and you tighten it. Now the next step in this case is to make sure that you have it balanced and everything is good to go. Now you can notice that the gimbal is standing a little bit crooked. So what we gotta do is we gotta loosen it up over here, adjust it, make sure it's straight, then tighten it up. Then you basically have this. And what this is gonna do is this is gonna help you get rid of all the shakiness, all that extra vibration, or anything that you can basically get from the uneven surfaces. But in this case, this should balance everything out and give you all the smooth footage. Make sure everything is locked up. Now, now the last piece is to add the counterweight. This counterweight helps you balance it just a little bit more, because the important thing is to make sure that you have this thing leveled. So in this case, it is leveled, and this will balance everything accordingly. And this will obviously help with the shake. Now that the car mount is set up and everything is good to go, we got to talk about the camera settings, because that's what makes everything better in this case. So one thing you want to make sure with this camera is, one, obviously have your settings on a manual. That's a must. Make sure your color balance is set to D-Log M, because that's going to give you the most dynamic range, and it also helps you get your shots colored the way that you want them to. Now, after that, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you put your camera settings at the right ways. For example, for me, when I get driving shots, I like to keep them at the 24 frames per second. That gives you the most realistic shots. You don't have to do any slow-mo or anything like that. I like to keep them real time as much as possible. And for that, what you need to do is first put it at 24 frames per second, and then you want to make sure you adjust your shutter speed basically double than what your frame rate is. Mostly in cameras, it is 1/48 or 180-degree shutter angle. On this camera, you don't have 1/48, you have it 1/50. So that's what we'll be using on this one. Make sure it's set at 1/50. But lastly, also, you want to make sure you have your ISO as low as possible, because that's going to give you the least noisy image Some cameras have a certain base ISO. In this case, it doesn't necessarily have anything, but you can keep it at 50 or 100 or anything low, just so you don't get any noisy footage. But once you have everything right, you are going to notice that your footage is very bright. And the reason is because your camera settings are meant for much darker environments. And so because you're outside and you want to preserve those camera settings, you have to use filters. And that's where the MoveMax filters come out. If you guys haven't seen the review, I'll have it linked in the description. Basically, I go over every single filter and talk about what they do. But in this case, we have two options that we can choose. We can either go with a VND or we can go with a hard stop. Now, the VND is great, of course, but one thing I think for this one, I'm going to go with the hard stops just because I want to also attach a polarizer. And with the VND, it's really hard to have that attached. Now, in this case, we have the set right here. What I'm going to do, because it's kind of a cloudy weather, I am going to stick with the ND16. This is going to balance my footage according to the lighting. And then afterwards, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the circular polarizer on top of that. And what this does, this allows you to get rid of the glare and reflection from the windows, and it gives you a much cleaner image. And lastly, you also want to make sure that your white balance is set on locked. So if it's bright outside, if it's outside during the day, you want to keep it at 5600, that because that's going to give you like a warm daytime lighting without any problems. So now that you have everything, the last piece is to connect your phone to it. We got to use the DJI MIMO app. You connect it and you have everything on your phone. Now, over here, as you guys can see, you have the camera control, so you can adjust your camera gimbal however you want. You have access to your camera settings. As you guys can see, I'm on manual mode. I have my ISO at 50, and then my shutter speed is at 1/50th. And then I can basically adjust it, make it brighter, make it darker, or I can even put it on auto, which will basically balance it out, make sure that your settings are at least in a range. Depends on, some places could be bright, some places could be dark. So if you want to keep it on auto, it will help you a lot. In this case, we'll just keep it at 50, 150 is shutter speed. As you can see, we're on 4K, 24 frames per second. And yeah, my white balance is custom at 5600, and I have it at D-Log M, which gives you a 10-bit, kind of like a desaturated color. Now, after we get the shots, I am going to teach you guys how to get the right colors on your editing software. But in this case, once you have everything ready, as I mentioned already, we have the filter on and stuff. You can use the circular polarizer to cut off the reflections from your windshield or any area that you're trying to cut off. That's the whole purpose of CPL. So it will help you get a really nice footage. Otherwise, you are going to get a lot of reflections from the sky, from anything else. Now that everything is ready to go, let's get some driving shots and show you guys how it goes.
Spend money, what a waste. Times money, money pays. You ain't ready for the eighth. She ain't ready for the eighth. Mad as savage, me back and I'm back and it happening, ready to blow. I remember doing deeds with Deji from the street, they left me on my own. Mom kept asking me about how I got the P, I told her leave it, mum and grow. Then they're ringing off my phone. Then they're ringing off my phone.
So as you guys saw, the shots came out pretty cool. This thing is just absolutely amazing. But now we're going to talk about the exhaust. Now, not all the time you're filming electric cars, which obviously don't have any sound exhaust or anything. But if you're filming any other car that has exhaust and you want to kind of enhance your video experience, kind of add more of that sound design effect with the engine and the revving and all that stuff, then you obviously need to mic it up. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to switch the car mount from Armand's car to my car. Same way again, we have everything set up, as you guys can see. We put it right here. Suction cup turning on. All you gotta do is just put a bit of a pressure and that's it. This thing is in the whole time. But now we gotta use the DJI mic 2s. This, if you get a certain combo package, you will get this microphone. If you don't, these are usually like $100 that you can buy and basically have it Bluetooth connect to your Pocket 3. But what we gotta do, we gotta power this on, turn on the microphone, make sure it's connected using the Bluetooth to the Pocket 3. And then once you have it on, you gotta come to the next card. Typically, this is the way that I like to do it. There's other ways that people can mount it, but this, I find that it's the best way to do it. What you wanna make sure is first you have your dead cat on top of it. This will help cut off a lot of the wind noise and stuff. And then find the license plate frame and then just slide this in right here. And this will stay stationary and it will also capture your exhaust sound from the vehicle. So now once you have this, let's get some driving shots and see how the exhaust sound works with it. Oh, and last thing, also forgot to mention, make sure you press record, because otherwise, just in case if you're in a far distance and you might lose the connection with the Pocket 3, this will ensure that at least you have it recorded, and then you can also auto sync to your camera later on in post. Now that we're back from filming, I want to show you guys the easiest way to color grade your footage that you shot with the Pocket 3. Now, if you follow all the steps that I mentioned earlier, then you will have a D-Log M footage, which will obviously look desaturated and not as natural as you would typically get just from get-go. So in order to fix this, what you need to do is you need to go on your browser, and then I will leave the link in the description so you guys can click on it and open it up for yourself. But you have to go on this website, and this is DJI's official website, so you have to download the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 D-Log M to Rec 709 conversion LUT. Once you download this, you have to open it on your editing software. What you need to do, in this case I'm using DaVinci Resolve. It also works on Premiere Pro or Final Cut, however you do it. But basically you need to go to your settings in DaVinci, and then you go to color management, you press open LUT folder, and then you drag and drop your files from your download folder in here, and then you close it, and then you press update list, and it would update it and it would have it in there. And so once you're ready to go, the first step I recommend doing is first create a separate node. So we have two nodes over here. On the second one, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to my LUTs folder, which is up here, and then I'm gonna search for my Osmo Pocket 3 Rec 9. And as you guys can see, once I have my mouse on it, it would already convert to the look that we're going for. So I just have to drag and drop it to the second node, and yeah, you already have all the colors. So that's the great news. Now, the next step, what you should do is you should go in your first node, and this is where you make all your necessary adjustments. In this case, you can bring down the shadows, bring down the highlights, bring down the midtone, adjust the midtones, everything. So whatever you need to do to make the footage look as natural as possible, this is how you do it. You can also add contrast and other stuff. Now, if you want to do more than just adjusting your exposures, then you can create another node before, make sure that's the keyword, before your conversion LUT. And over here is where you can adjust your white balance, your, if you want to add certain colors or anything like that, everything you do it over here. Even if you want to add effects to it, everything happens before your conversion LUT. Now, if you're somebody who likes to use like color LUTs, like certain looks or something, what I recommend you do is create a node after your conversion LUT, then find the LUT that you need, that you like, and then apply it on the last node. Now that would basically apply to whatever your final look is. So you, basically prior to that, you're doing all the necessary adjustments that you need to do in order to get your footage looks as good as possible, and then you apply the LUT last to kind of create that look. And then of course you can go back to your first node, make the necessary adjustments, to balance it out to make it look good. You can also open up other like curves and stuff, and then you can kind of like play with it and create the look that you're going for. But yeah, basically this is the easiest way that you can do. And then if you're happy with it and you want to apply it to the rest of them, then what I would say is just right click on it, do a grab still, and then you go to your other footage. You can drag and drop it and it would look exactly like that. And you can also make the adjustments the same way that you did on the first one. Well, I hope I was able to help you guys capture the shots that you're looking for. Again, just make sure to check out the link when it comes to all this gear if you want to purchase them. It will really help me out. And if you want to learn also about the filters or even the MoveMax blade arm, the links will be in the description. But other than that, this basically wraps up the video. I hope you guys like it. Let me know if you have any other questions, and I'll see you guys on the next one.